Hi guys, this is Sandra of the Alexandrite system. I know it's been a bit since I've worn a tank top on this show, but I wanted to show off my new tattoo. So, as I feel like people should, we put a lot of thought into our tattoo designs. This one is for our grandmothers. The one on our back is a connection with our friends. This one back here is our trans tattoo. But before I explain this one, I want to tell a little story, and that story is about tea. So pretty recently, on a whim, we decided to follow a recipe for London Fog concentrate. So London Fog is like a tea latte. It is Earl Grey tea with vanilla and sugar and stuff, and you boil it down for several hours, and it makes like a concentrated tea, and then you mix that with milk, and it's London Fog, and it's really good. We posted a video on our Twitter last week of Ellen trying it for the first time, and she really enjoyed it. So the thing with Earl Grey tea, and therefore London Fog, is that it has caffeine. We don't ingest a lot of caffeine. The only time that we were really into caffeine was during our really abusive relationship when we were like 19-ish. We were not sleeping a lot, maybe like 2 or 3 hours a day at most. And we had a 9 to 5 kind of job where we had like little social interaction and very little stimulus. So we were like barely keeping awake, and we drove ourselves there too, so this became like pretty dangerous. So we drank a lot of energy drinks, and the thing that we learned about our body and energy drinks is that there is a very fine line for us between awake and jittery and anxious, and it is like one sip of a line. So after a few days of drinking London Fog, I got very concerned about us starting drinking caffeine, especially when we started doing it in the mornings. My main concern was that we would become dependent on it. I've never wanted to be one of those people that needs a cup of coffee to get going, and if I don't have it, the whole day is done. And really, my fear isn't like the need of having it, it's the need of having it and then not having it. So I began looking up how much caffeine was in Earl Grey tea, and then how much caffeine was in like your average cup of London Fog. I looked up how much caffeine it would take to become like regularly dependent on it. And I just got really like obsessed and nervous about this. And I made a realization that this was something new in my life that gave me a small amount of joy, and my first thought was, what if it's actually bad? And my second thought was, what if it's taken away from me? And this became an exercise in hypervigilance. So hypervigilance is essentially excessive worrying or excessive protection about something. It's a really big factor in PTSD, which a lot of systems have. Basically, my response with the London Fog was that we have a history of getting really invested in things and being really happy with things, and then suddenly those things kind of turn on their head, especially in relationships. And then on the flip side, we have a history of really enjoying things and being really invested in stuff, and then having it ripped away from us. So my obsession with the caffeine amount in this tea was a reflection of that. It was to prepare myself for that perceived eventuality. And I realized it very much tied into the reason why we got this tattoo. This tattoo is of the 4 flowers from our wedding crown. Now, normally I'm the type of person that says don't get a relationship tattoo no matter what, even if you've been married 27 years and you know that like nothing's ever changing that, don't get a relationship tattoo, because a relationship tattoo is permanent and relationships by definition aren't. And it ties back into my hypervigilance. I mean, there is definitely reasons not to get a relationship tattoo. Please give serious thought if you're going to get a relationship tattoo. But it ties into that idea of we've had a lot of bad relationships, and it gets to the point where you start a new relationship and you wait for things to go wrong, and you expect things to go wrong, and not in a normal way where it's like, we are, I'm not going to say we're two people, because neither the holiday sock system nor we are just one person. The normal issues that come up when people enter a relationship, just because they're both, people. So I've wanted this tattoo for a bit, and I've justified it to myself in a lot of different ways before. We're very committed to the holiday sock system. We've been married for a bit now, and it's not like I'm getting their name tattooed on me. It's flowers. If we ever got divorced or whatever, it's just flowers, But recently I stopped justifying it to myself, because it got a new meaning for me. And that meaning is that we trust them. And we're not waiting for things to go wrong anymore. Something might happen, something might not happen, but we are not going to prepare ourselves for that supposed eventuality, and we're not going to wait around for it, and we're not going to ruin a relationship because we're being hypervigilant. It's a conscious choice you have to make. Eventually it becomes second nature, but it takes a lot of work. But we're willing to make that work. So in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my tea. That makes me happy. And I'm going to wait for the first session of this tattoo to heal so that we can get it finished next month. And I'm just going to enjoy things that make me happy. Thank you for watching, guys. Be well.